In today's exercise or in today's video, we will be solving some sample sums which will help you to understand this concept of mapping better. So let's see the first sum. Show that if mapping set of real terms to set of real terms defined by the function fx equal to x cube plus x is bijective. So let's first explain that R is the set of real terms. So if mapping R to R means f maps the set of real numbers to the set of real numbers. So we consider x to be real number and we consider fx, which is equal to x cube plus x, to also be a real number. So that is how the function f works. We need to show that this fx is essentially bijective. Now by definition, we know that bijective has two parts. So bijective function is 1-1 mapping. Let me just write 1 for your understanding, and a bijective function is also onto mapping. So any function which is 1-1 mapping and onto mapping at the same time simultaneously is called a bijective function. So that is what we'll be doing. We'll be first showing that this fx equal to x cube plus x, when it maps from the set of real numbers to the set of real numbers, then this function fx given by x cube plus x is 1-1 and onto, which will automatically imply that this function is bijective. So the first part that we'll be doing is the function f is 1-1 mapping. So as we mentioned before, 1-1 mapping, one of the best examples is the mother to child mapping. So we considered two same child fx equal to fy. So we considered we consider two elements in the codomain set fx and fy, which are essentially the same elements. So we consider fx equal to fy, where x and y are again belonging to the real set of numbers, since we had considered that f maps from R to R. So any element on this hand will be a real number. So if we assume that fx equal to fy, then by this function that has been explained in the example or in the sum, fx should be equal to x cube plus x and fy should be equal to y cube plus y. So if we assume that fx equal to fy, then x cube plus x should be equal to y cube plus y. What we do next is we convert or we transfer these two terms on the right hand side of the equality sign to the left hand side of the equality sign. So we get, instead of getting x cube plus x equal to y cube plus y, instead of that we write x cube minus y cube plus x minus y. So based on this assumption that fx equal to fy, based on the assumption that we are taking two same child, we get this equation x cube minus y cube plus x minus y equal to 0. Now we know that x cube minus y cube can be split into x minus y into x square plus xy plus 1. Let's forget about this part, this one part. We know that x cube minus y cube is x plus y into x square plus xy plus y square. If we replace that expression with x cube plus y, x cube minus y cube, then we are left with x minus y into x square plus xy plus y square plus x minus y from the previous expression. What we do then is we take x minus y a common and we get x minus y into x square plus xy plus y square plus 1. So I have skipped a step here. What we essentially have is x minus y into x square plus xy minus plus y square plus again x minus y. So I take this x minus y common and I'm left with x square plus xy plus y square plus 1. Now we get x minus y into x square plus xy plus y square plus 1 equal to 0. So we are getting the product of two terms equal to 0. Now the product of two terms can be 0 only if at least one of these two terms is 0. We can have both of these terms equal to 0, but at least one. So either x minus y equal to 0 or x square plus xy plus y square plus 1 equal to 0. Now we are saying that x minus y equal to 0, which implies that x equal to y. We'll come back to what this x equal to y implies, but you might ask, why are we considering x minus y equal to 0? Why are we not saying that x square plus xy plus y square plus 1 equal to 0? Because if this part is 0, if x square plus xy plus y square equal to 1 plus 1 is equal to 0, then we might not have x minus y equal to 0. X minus y might be equal to 5. And we have this part equal to 0, which is like 5 into 0 is 0. You see, we cannot have x square plus xy plus y square plus 1 equal to 0. So we'll be explaining why x square plus xy plus y square plus 1 cannot be equal to 0. In fact, it's greater than 1. So let's assume as we started the sum with x plus y both belong to the real set of numbers. So we know we can write x square plus xy plus y square as x square plus xy, then we multiply 2 and we divide by 2. So this term is actually xy, so I haven't made anything extra for this term xy. I have just adjusted it to represent it in the form 2 into something else. Next, what I do is I split y square into y square plus 4 and 3y square plus 4. So when I add y square plus 4 and 3y square plus 4, I get 4y square plus 4, which is y square. So I have split this y square into two components. So essentially what I do is I rewrite x square plus xy plus y square as x square plus 2 into x into y by 2 plus y square by 4 plus 3y square by 4. Now, if you consider this portion which I've put in the bracket, x square plus 2 into x into y by 2 plus y square by 4, this y square by 4 is essentially y by 2 whole square. So this can be written as y by 2 whole square. So now if I replace x with a and y by 2 with b, I can get this expression as a square plus 2ab plus b square. Then I can write this a square plus 2ab plus b square we know is equal to a plus b whole square. So I replace a plus b whole square. So x square plus 2 into x into y by 2 plus y square by 4, which is essentially y by 2 whole square, can be written as x plus y by 2 whole square. And this 3y square by 4 is again a square term because we can write it as root 3y by 2 whole square. So I'm not writing this in this form because that will make this page or this appearance untidy. But we know that 3y square by 4 can be written in a square term. So this x square plus xy by y plus y square can be written as the sum of two squares. So as you can see, that will be the sum of two squares, x plus y by 2 whole square plus 3y square by 4. This is a sum of two squares, so of course it cannot be negative. So this term is at least 0 or greater than that. So it's 0, 0.1. It's basically 0 and anything greater than that. So we have deduced that x square plus xy plus y square is a positive term or it's 0. Now coming back to this multiplication, we had said that x minus y is 0 because this part cannot be 0. Because you see, we have already said that x square plus xy plus y square cannot be negative. It's either 0 or positive. And we have added 1 to it. So at least it's 0. If it's 1, 2, 3, 4, then automatically this term is bigger than that. But it can at least be, it at most be 0. It cannot be less than 0. So this term automatically becomes a positive term. So x square plus xy plus y square plus 1 essentially is greater than 1. It is in no way equal to 0. So we can say that x minus y is equal to 0 for certainty, and then we can say x equal to y. Now coming back to the implication, we had assumed that fx equal to fy, and by this assumption we arrive at the conclusion that x equal to y. So going back to the definition of 1-1 mapping, if we consider two same children, then we can come to the conclusion that we have also considered the same mother. So when we consider two same fx equal to fy, we come to the conclusion that x equal to y. This is the condition for 1-1 mapping. So by this condition, we can say that the function fx is 1-1 mapping. So that's one half of the sum done. Next part of the sum, essentially, we need to prove that it is onto mapping. For onto mapping, we assume that for some y belonging to the real set of numbers, fx equal to y. So we essentially have this range set and we say that there's some fx equal to y, which means there is some x in the domain set which has been mapped to the set, mapped to the element y in the range set. Now, if fx equal to y, then x cube plus x equal to y, which means x cube plus x minus y equal to 0. Now, this is a cubic in x, and there must be one value of x for which this cubic equation holds. That means at least one real, in fact, So there is one real value of x for which x can be mapped to y. That means there exists one element for every element in the range set. So there does not exist any empty element which cannot be mapped back. So as I have said here, this is a cubic in x and has at least one real solution, say x equal to a, such that a cube plus a minus y equal to 0. That means if a equal to 0. So for every element y in the range set, we have some element in x for x equal to a, let's say, which can be mapped to y. So essentially the codomain set and the range set is the same. So that is what I have written here again in a different format. Every y belonging to our codomain has its pre-image a equal to r in the domain set such that f a equal to y. This statement itself implies that f is an onto function. Now in the condition 1, we had said that f is a 1-1 function. So yeah, in condition 1, we had said that f is a 1-1 function. And again, in condition 2, we are saying f is onto function. So by definition, a function which is at the same time 1-1 and onto is called a bijective function. So 1 and 2 both together imply that f is a bijective function.